If you've ever wondered how some gardens seem to explode with life, lush leaves, vigorous roots, and swarming worms beneath every shovel turn, here's the quiet secret passed down through generations of Amish gardeners. It doesn't come in a shiny plastic bottle or from an expensive garden centre. It comes from your own kitchen drawer. With just baking soda, cornmeal and apple cider vinegar, you can make a powerful all-natural soil booster that transforms dull, compacted dirt into thriving, oxygen-rich soil teeming with worms and microbes. Let's dive straight into how this humble mix works and how to make it for your own garden. At first glance, these ingredients seem too simple to do anything special, but together they create a natural balancing act for your soil's health. Cornmeal is pure microbe food. It breaks down slowly, feeding beneficial soil organisms and kick-starting the microscopic life that worms depend on. Healthy microbes mean happy worms, and happy worms mean nutrient-rich soil full of natural fertilizer in the form of worm castings. Apple cider vinegar brings mild organic acids that help dissolve compacted soil particles and release trace minerals. It gently lowers overly alkaline soils and helps wake up sluggish microbial communities. When diluted correctly, it adds life, not harm, to the ecosystem beneath your plants. Then comes baking soda, the balancing touch. A pinch of it helps neutralize soil that's too acidic, creating a sweet spot where worms and microbes thrive together. Add water, and this trio becomes a simple, effective elixir for reviving tired garden beds. All right, let's get straight to what you need. This is the base batch that works perfectly for a 100 square foot garden bed. It's small enough to test, but strong enough to see real results. You'll need 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, and 1 gallon of water, which is about 3.8 litres. That's it, folks. Just these 4 ingredients, mixed in the right order, become the secret weapon for better soil texture, pH balance, and faster worm activity. Start with your bucket or watering can and pour in 1 gallon of clean water. Stir in the cornmeal first so it suspends evenly. Let it sit for about 10 minutes to soften. Next, add your apple cider vinegar slowly while stirring. This helps distribute it evenly throughout the liquid. Now, in a separate cup, dissolve the baking soda in a few tablespoons of warm water. Once it's fully dissolved, pour it gently into your main mixture while stirring. You'll notice some fizz. That's normal. The fizzing means the ingredients are reacting, releasing carbon dioxide and creating a neutralized, microbe-friendly solution. Let it rest for about 20 minutes, give it one final stir, and it's ready to go. Timing and technique matter here. The best time to apply this Amish soil booster is early in the morning or late in the afternoon, when the soil is cool and microbes are most active. Avoid using it during the hot midday sun. You don't want rapid evaporation to waste your efforts. For a 100 square foot bed, use the full gallon evenly across the soil surface. Pour slowly as you walk, letting the mix soak in rather than puddle. Once you've covered the area, lightly loosen the top inch or 2 of soil with a fork or hand rake. This helps distribute the cornmeal particles and draws worms closer to the surface. Now, if you're working with a smaller patch, let's say about 10 square feet, You'll want to make just 1/10 of the base recipe. That comes out to 1½ tablespoons of cornmeal, about 1/3 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and roughly 1¼ teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, all mixed into about 13 ounces of water. For container gardens or pots, you'll use roughly a cup of the diluted mixture per large pot. Oh, and always remember to pour it around the base of the plant, not directly on the leaves. You'll want to repeat this treatment once every month for 2 or 3 months, and then take a little break to observe the results. You should start noticing richer soil, quicker decomposition of mulch, and most importantly, more worm castings when you dig around. Within just a few days of applying this booster, you'll start to notice some subtle changes. The topsoil tends to stay moist a bit longer, and the earthy smell gets stronger, a sure sign that microbial life is waking up. Within a few weeks, worms begin moving closer to the surface, feeding on that new microbe-rich layer. They'll aerate the soil naturally, breaking down organic matter and creating channels for air and water to flow through. After about 4 to 8 weeks, you can, really expect to see a difference in your plant's health. The leaves start looking greener, growth gets more vigorous, and honestly, watering just seems to work better. What's actually happening is that your soil biology has shifted into balance. And that's a direct result of feeding the living organisms that power the ecosystem underground. As natural as this formula is, balance is everything. Too much baking soda can make the soil too alkaline, which, actually slows plant growth. If your soil is already neutral or just a bit alkaline, go ahead and cut the baking soda in half or even skip it entirely. And always dilute apple cider vinegar. It's acidic enough to damage roots if you pour it straight from the bottle. Before using the booster, it's smart to do a quick pH test. If your soil is very acidic, say below 5.5, the baking soda will help. If it's near neutral, around 6.5 to 7, keep the ratio as written, but don't over-apply. Think of this as a monthly microbe tune-up, not a daily fertilizer. Also, just remember that cornmeal attracts life, both good and bad. If you start to notice pests or maybe even mold when using it too frequently, let the soil dry out a bit between applications. The key, really, is moderation and observation. Here's the interesting part. When baking soda and vinegar react, they produce carbon dioxide gas. Now, while that doesn't oxygenate the soil in a literal sense, it does slightly aerate the liquid and improve microbial mixing when poured in. But honestly, the true benefit isn't from that fizz. It's from feeding soil organisms the right combination of carbon, acids and minerals they need to thrive. This reaction also neutralizes harsh acids, leaving a gentle, balanced tonic that supports root health without chemical interference. The Amish learned through centuries of hands-on experience that these basic pantry items, in the right proportions, help soil stay alive and self-sustaining. The next time you're in your kitchen, look at that bag of cornmeal, that box of baking soda, and that bottle of apple cider vinegar differently. They're not just for cooking. They're the foundation of one of the simplest, most effective natural soil boosters you can make at home. You don't need to spend a fortune on bottled microbial activators or synthetic fertilizers. This time-tested mix, used wisely, gives your soil exactly what it needs to wake up and work for you again. So try it out. Start small, observe closely, and let your soil tell you the results. Within weeks, you might find your garden pulsing with life in ways it never did before. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Crops Haven for more hands-on, no-fluff gardening tips straight from nature's playbook. Share this with a fellow gardener, because the best secrets are meant to grow.